Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Ego Dynamics Quantum Leap to Mastery Masterclass series. We continue the journey of exposing people to the process of personal development and giving individuals information which is necessary for them to make the kind of decisions which are critical. And as we get into today's class, there'll be a few exercises, but there's going to be hopefully something to stir your imagination and get you thinking about what it is we need to do during 2026. But before we do that, I just want us to be aware that Ego Dynamics is part of a worldwide movement. And we belong to the Proctor Gallagher Institute, of which I'm a coach, of which Suzette is also a coach. All right? And what is their purpose? Their vision is to significantly improve the quality of lives globally by elevating the quality of thoughts individually. So it starts with the individual, everything. And this is what we're going to try to explain to you as we go along. And they do this by educating, and that's what we are doing here today. We are fulfilling that side of this global movement, which is for paradigm change and wealth creation. All right? So that is where Ego Dynamics is located. We are part of something bigger than even ourselves. Right? And there you see me with Sandy Gallagher and my partner, Suzette Granville. Don't worry, but if you meet her, she's always smiling. So that photo is just a reflection of the person, who is always smiling and giggling. And this is at the last meeting of consultants here, you see me with my African brothers and sisters from the diaspora, and the group of coaches from all over the world. In fact, the Proctor Gallagher Institute is in every country in the world. There are coaches in every country in the world. So I want you to understand that, as I said before, we're not isolated. We are part of a global movement of successful people. And what we want to do is to help you to be successful and to grow. So let's listen to Bob Proctor here. Very brief introduction where he outlines, what it is we are going to be doing today, given that, overall view.
Hello there and welcome. I'm Bob Proctor. Over the next few minutes, you are going to have some absolutely incredible information shared with you. I could go back many, many years, 55 years ago. I was one lost soul. I was sitting in a fire hall in the suburb of Toronto, and a man gave me this book, and he said, if you do exactly what I tell you, you can have anything you want. Well, I didn't believe that, but I believed he believed it. And so I thought, I'm going to do exactly what he says. I have never looked back. I have earned millions of dollars. I've had an absolutely phenomenal life, and it just keeps getting better. I have no intentions of slowing down. I'll be 82 here in a day or two, and it just keeps getting better. I got the energy of somebody that's 32. And you know, what you're going to hear over the next few minutes is the essence of everything that I've studied over the past 50 years. Listen really carefully to what they're going to explain to you over the next few minutes. And if you're wise, if you've got your ear to the ground, you're going to see how your results will change dramatically. How you can multiply your income, you can improve your relationships, and you can live in a healthy body. I have studied for a long time. These people have got the answers for you. Listen carefully to them.
Okay.
Hello there and welcome. I'm Bob.
Dive into it. Before we get into the meat, I think it's necessary to give an overall view or opinion that 2026, from what all indications are, is going to be the beginning of a new cycle. We'll explain as we go along what this means. There are three major lenses that we can look through when we made that statement there: astronomical, economic, and psychological, spiritual, through which people frame 2026 as the beginning of a new cycle. What's fascinating is how all three of these major changes converge. And as I said, this is why so many thought leaders, economists, and transformation communities point to 2026 as a reset year than just another January and the cycle where we talk about New Year resolution, which usually people don't fulfill them by the end of this month, early next month. They abandon it and resort, and they don't know why. We are going to explain to you today why, and therefore what you can do to begin to be a part of what is going to happen, is happening. So the question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to join in the chaos or order? Presently, globally, and every country is going through times of uncertainty. Young people don't know if they are going to be able to survive. I meet and talk to some of them, and they are saying they're not going to have any children because they're not sure they can cope in this environment. And I say, I remind them that I've lived long enough to hear that statement. Every generation, I hear that statement about things are getting harder. And we are going to show you that is your perception. Right? So old paradigms are dissolving. And we'll explain this is what people see, but they're not sure. New opportunities are emerging. Artificial intelligence. We look at it in terms of the negative. You don't see the positive. Identity. What do you mean by that? We're talking about an understanding of who you are and what is your place in the world. What is your contribution to humanity? And we get into that. But every individual, every single person wants to strive and wants to contribute, wants to share. However, they may be programmed otherwise. What is also happening is what we call generational shift. Yes. You find that with the technological changes come a generational shift. We'll get a little bit into that. So it means new leaders are emerging. Younger people are now coming to the fore. If you look in Africa and you look at the new leaders emerging, they're all young people. As it says, creativity is being rewarded more than confounded. You cannot join with the crowd. We show, for example, that symbol of why we choose eagle dynamics. And it says that the eagle fly alone. But the eagle fly with other eagles. And the eagle don't fly with birds. So remember what we call quote unquote old time saying. Birds of feather flock together. So you have to be careful who you're flying with. What's your company? Who are you following? So the decisions that you make are going to determine whether you arrive this wave that is coming. So it's not anything that it's obvious. Why? The law of rhythm. After a period of chaos, and if you are around long enough, it began with the whole situation from 2008 economic crisis, then the pandemic, and then the upheaval all over the world with wars and all kinds of stuff. And the seemingly confusion. But before we move on, I want to bring your attention to you. Yes. Now this is what this is all about. As there's a saying there, all of what is happening around you. So we want to look at you. And we have what is called a fulfillment wheel. And here I'm identifying different areas of your life. And we want you to do a very simple little exercise, not complicated. On a scale of 0 to 10, and you cannot write this down quickly on a sheet of paper because this is something that you're going to use for your own self. You don't need to share this with anyone. Anyone. How do you rate yourself with regards to finances, with regards to money from 0 to 10? You're thinking of want and scarcity? How is your health? Maybe you don't even know how is your health. When last time you got a checkup? Are you doing like what most people do? They're waiting until they get sick before they try to find out if everything is functioning in a good order. People have a car And every regularly they get the car check up. Make sure the oil is there, that is there. And of course, they're constantly looking at the gas gauge. You must do like me. I keep my tank full. As I learned that early on, and somebody tell me, keep your tank full, because you never know when an emergency will come and you need to move. How's your business and career going on? Do you know what it is you enjoy the most? And we're going to examine this because what has happened is society has programmed us to think about job security. And I want to suggest to you, you need to begin to think about earning security. There. Earning, not job security. That there's really no thing there. However, you may want a particular career, and this is what you would love to do, but you're going to find that that is not your earning. That's not where you're going to earn money. School don't teach us that. People go to university, have degrees in economics, and don't know how to earn money. Then your family and friends. What kind of relationship you have? Again, remember what to do. Very quickly, between 0 and 10. How is that? The romance, the intimate relationship. How is that coming along? Are you doing like most people, hit and miss, trial and error? Do you know what it is you want in a romantic relationship? Do you know what qualities you want? Those are all these areas are things that we help you with, but we want you now to do an evaluation of yourself. Personal growth. Do you invest in yourself? Talking to someone recently, I pointed out that most young people, for example, education is free up to high school, that is. So they don't think they need to pay to improve their personal development. And we're going to try to expose you to the fun and recreation. Do you find ways to relax, have fun? Or do you complain that you don't have any money to do it? You'd be surprised. There's so many things you can do. There are parks, there are beaches, there are museums, there are all kinds of facilities that society provide that you children can go to that do not cost. All you need is time. And of course, the physical environment. Is it conducive to comfort? Or are you catching somewhere? For the time being, that is. We won't get into this very much, but this is an exercise that is a masterclass. I want to leave you with tools, things that you can do. So the evaluation of yourself is the first stage. You got to know who you are and where you are. And why we recommend that you do this, and it must remain private. Because you have to be true to yourself. You can't lie to yourself. You gotta be true to yourself. So as we say, in the journey of life, this is your personal journey. This is what we're doing today. We're talking about you. As Bob Proctor often said, change is inevitable, but personal growth, you have to make a choice. Every single individual have what is called free will. Every person. And you choose your choice. You can choose to go, or you can choose to remain as how you is because you are comfortable. So your mind is either in a confused state or is an orderly state. And we're going to get a little into it to explain to you what is the mind and why we think that this is important. All you need to do is to look at the results you get and what you are thinking. If you are confused, you are not sure about where you're going. If you are, I wouldn't even say dissatisfied, because dissatisfaction is a good thing. And we'll explain to you as we go along. So, do you have a definite purpose that guides your ambition, vision, and growth? And it says here, what a different story people would have to tell if they would have a definite purpose and stand by that purpose until that time to become an all-consuming purpose. You have to discover your purpose. It's there. And we're going to help you to do that. See, this is a stick person there. And you have your thoughts, your feeling, and your action is what create the result. I will explain a little bit more for those who are not familiar with this stick person there. So your purpose gives you the meaning of why you are doing what you are doing and why the goals that you set should be aligned with your purpose. My purpose, for example, is to help young people live a very prosperous and wealthy life. Yeah. Because when I look at my own life, if I had the guidance and the direction in the aspect of wealth creation and only became consciously aware of many of the things I was doing, I was making progress. I'm a very successful person. In so many areas, even me, even myself is surprised at times when I reflect. But that is the purpose. And therefore, for example, if you look, you'll see this is going to be my first book, Milo on the Map of Maybe, which is aimed at young people and explaining to them in their language the higher faculties. And so, how do you know your purpose? What do you love to do? What is the one thing that you feel supremely qualified to do, to create or to teach or to share with others? What do you do to serve other people? Where do you add the greatest value to the people you serve? And how can you make them feel well taken care of? You have some people talk about their children. And I usually say to them, when your children reach the age of 18 or 20, What is your purpose? Think about what is your purpose when they become responsible for themselves. Yes, you are responsible for them. No problem. That is absolutely clear. With your purpose in life, how do people change as a result of what you do? Look around here, look at your activity, look at what it is you do, as we said. So your purpose is an exercise. We won't get into it by virtue of time factor here. It's an activity that you have done. This is something that you can do on your own. What activity have you done? Something you did, something that required effort and action on your part, and must be about something you enjoy doing. I took satisfaction from them. I used to like to plant trees. I still do. But I can distinctly remember planting bungo peas when I was about 11 years of age. And it bore lots of pods in December. And I was there with my grandmother. I have to be careful when I tell a story because it will bring back tears of joy in my experience where I was contributing at 11 to the family dinner. And as I went along in life, you found that what? You want to help other people. So I spent a great deal of years in teaching and still do, but this is what I'm doing now. This is what I love to do. So this is how you find your purpose. You have to look at activities that you have done.
At Cheddar Scratch Kitchen, every day we're cooking.
You see? Now we'll move on to vision. What is vision? The vision is the bridge that connects your purpose to your goals. How do you create a vision? It's the strategies that you are going to do for the fulfillment of your purpose. It's the things that you want you are going to do to achieve the why. Your vision gives you direction. So here we give you another exercise that you can do. Make a list of all your wants. Take a picture of this. Take a screenshot, whatever it is, or write it down. Make a list of all the things that you want. Now we are going to break it down a little bit more further on in this presentation. And then we're going to ask you a homework assignment to create a vision board. If you don't know what a vision board is, you can go online and find it out. I have one behind me, but I can't show it to you right now. But it is, you put out pictures and words, images. So if you want to live in a big house with swimming pool, you can get a picture of that. You want to drive some fancy car, you get a picture of that. And we're going to get into that a little more where you see. So what do you really want? That's the question. Not what your parents, not what your friends, what you really want. I remember listening to a reverend gentleman at a funeral. And he's saying how the cemetery is full of rich people. Because most people die with their desire in them. They never fulfill that. Great things that they wanted to do to contribute to the world, they never did. They gave up. So you need to identify, what do you really want? Do you have a written goal? This is what we help people to do. And your goal cannot be, I want to get happy. Please. As someone says, there's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Happiness is inside of you. You're supposed to be happy and joyful every single day. Every morning you get up, you should be joyful. You're here. Will you know how many people are no longer here? And you're there worrying about what is going to happen. Be joyful. Start with that. Smile. Every person you meet. When people forget these, what they call old-time business, where you say good morning to every single person you meet. Even if it's don't do that, I'll give them a smile. So if you have a written goal, put yes or no in the chat. If you have one or you don't have, that we are going to recommend, because accountability is key. So let's clarify something about the type of goal. Bob Proctor suggests that there are 3 types of goals. A, B, C. There's goals that you know how to do it. You know what to do already. You have done it before. The B-type goal is those which you think you can do. If you get everything in line, if you get the money, if you get this, if somebody, whatever. But then there's a C-type goal. Those are the goals that you don't know how you're going to do. When I came to the United States, I wanted to purchase a house. I didn't have any money. I didn't know the how. And we're going to get to that. The moment I made a decision, and it was framed like this. How I framed it is, when I leave the rented house that I was in, I was going into my house. That is, I would never be going into any rented house. And that was 2001. I don't live in a rented house. So this is a goal that is going to stretch you, for you to do things that you have not done before. So do you know that over 98% of people are without any major goal in life? And if you correlate that to, they are the same people who both regard themselves as failures. So you want you to let go of the old and embrace the new. So when they are stuck at 20,000 a year, 100,000 a year, or $1 million, where they are stuck at getting F's and D's in school, where they are stuck at 5 pounds overweight, 20 pounds or 100 pounds, where they are stuck at the desk job you have that you don't love, your 9 to 5, as they say, or a business you are running, but you don't feel fulfilled, stop this stuff. And this is something sometimes people don't understand. That's why when we talk about earning the income that you need. And here's a statement by a gentleman by the name of Neville Goddard. It's called the coin of heaven. And he's saying, stop spending your thoughts, time, and money. Spending. Everything in life must be an investment. Most of us were not taught about investment. We're taught about spending. So we want a certain lifestyle, so we spend and don't realize that if we invest, yes, our day-to-day job may be something that you love to do, but that is not where your total income is coming from. The world is changing. And he goes on and said, thought is the coin of heaven. You are thinking. What is heaven? Don't make any difference. Whether you are religious or non-religious. It's a place of abundance. So your thought is what when tap into that abundance. And here's the flip side. Money, it's its earthly symbol. But without the money, you won't be able to do the things that you want to do. So it begins with thought. It begins with the understanding that there is abundance. There is no scarcity. It's all in your perception. But you need to earn the money to do what is necessary to do. So yes, you begin with thought, right? So the first step from poverty to riches is the most difficult. And we're going to get into that to explain to you why. All riches and all material things that anyone acquires through self-effort begins in the form of a clear, concise mental picture of the thing that you want. Repeat that one. You have to have a clear picture of what it is you want. You want a car? We have a picture of the car. And we're going to explain to you why. Because we think in pictures. Many people are put off by the first step from poverty to riches. Let's explain what riches is. Relationships. We'll mention that before. The income that you are earning to be able to do the things that you want to. Your career. We recommend your entrepreneurial endeavors. Your health. Your emotional energy. And of course, your spirituality, which is broader than religion, takes into account your understanding of who you are and where you are in the place of life. That acronym is riches. So when we talk about riches in personal development, that is what we're talking about. We're not just talking about money. So people tell you about they don't want to, have lots of money. No. We're talking about your relationship work. So you can look at many people with lots of money, wealthy people, and their relationship is poor. In fact, many of them live very miserable lives. So it's not the money that is going to make you happy. The happiness is going to allow you to function in a different way. This is very important. So let those lines represent vibration. And we'll explain what it is, but for the purposes right now of understanding your goal and why we say you need a clear picture. So levels of vibration I refer to as frequency. If you have my phone number, you can call me on that frequency, no matter where I am. And if you don't want to pay, you can use WhatsApp. Huh? But we think on frequency. So if you think about it, this is where your present results, you are looking at your present result, where you are, and you have a goal or you have some kind of wish. So you make some decision that you want to achieve that goal. You want to turn your your yearly income into your monthly income. Or you want to double your yearly income. That's your desire. However, what happens? You keep looking at your present result. You keep talking about what you don't have, and what you lack, and what you need, and that opportunities are not there. And what we are saying to you is this. This is where you are. That's the frequency you're on. But if your goal is there, you need to be, your mind and your thoughts must be on the same frequency as your goal. Of course, you're going to ask Dennis, how do you do that? I mentioned to someone, for example, about your future memory. That is, you see yourself with the things that you want. That is, you're going to make a committed decision. And I told you, I decided that I want to get an house. I did not know how. I didn't have no 10% down payment, no nothing. Until less than 2 years, I accomplished it. I did not know how. It's only when I look back. Because what happened? I think and act like the person that I wanted to become. And things began to come into my life to fulfill it. So that is where you begin. We're just giving you a little idea of how we help people to move from where they are to where they want to go. That is why successful people make decisions, because they know what they want. Many people have wishes. They don't make decisions because we don't teach young people to make decisions. So you have to make certain decisions, and that's what we are here to be about. We have mentioned before, change is inevitable. You must change. You're getting old. You cannot help that. But personal growth is a choice. So if you really want to be successful and you really want to be happy, don't have a job. Have a purpose. When you got a purpose, the whole world is your office. Now you may not see it now. James Allen said the following: mind is the master power that molds and makes, and we are mind. And evermore we take the tool of thought, shaping what we will, bring forth 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills. We think in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. What is he talking about? Environment is a looking glass. Let me just tell you a very quick story. Of someone I met, and they said that they stopped going to church. So, I just inquired as to why. They said God is not giving them what they want. So they pray and they're not getting it. So I said, what do you pray for? They pray that they don't lose their job. They pray that they don't lose their boyfriend. They pray that they're not homeless. What do you think happened? The following day, she was going to be homeless to complete the three things up. That she had lost a job, lost a boyfriend, and now it's also the homeless business. And this is what it says. You don't want this, you don't want that, you're going to get it. Because that's what you're thinking about. That's why people don't understand, for example. It says what? To those who want, they get more. To those who have a limitedness, they lose even that which they have. So if your thoughts is negative, if your thoughts is problems, if your thought is about other people holding you back and preventing you from moving forward, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to be held back. But it's all in your mind. So we think in pictures. If I say a feather, that's what happened. If I say a door, that's what happened. If I say a car, the image comes up. If I says your refrigerator, the image. And if I ask you things about your refrigerator, how the door open, you actually have to go in the kitchen in your imagination or memory and see what is going on there. All right? So let me explain a little bit about the mind. That is your marvelous mind. Many persons don't understand. We don't know because we're not taught about. We mentioned earlier on about images that we think in pictures. Now, when we say the mind, most persons think of the brain.
No, no. Huh?
The brain is not your mind. Your hand is not your mind. See? And also paradigm, what it is that is holding you back from achieving what you want. And so in 1934, this guy came up with a diagram. He was a doctor in the healing arts dealing with holistic thing. And point out that the mind is an activity. The mind is in every cell of your body. However, people don't have an image. So he created an image. Large circle and a small circle. The large circle represents the mind, and the small circle represents the body. And if a purpose is a personal goal, we divide it into two. Top is the conscious mind, the bottom is the subconscious mind, and of course the body. The body is an instrument of your mind. So remember earlier we talked about thoughts, feelings, and action. This is it. The thoughts are there, the feeling, and talk about the heart. The ancient people refer to the heart, and I'm talking about the heart, the organ. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Bob Proctor pointed out though, that this is one of the most valuable ideas that he had ever studied. He goes on to say that school gives us valuable knowledge. However, school had never taught us to alter our old paradigms. And we'll explain what that is. Therefore, we frequently do not do what we already know how to do. So we have superior knowledge. We have people with all type of degrees, but they have inferior results and create confusion and frustration. Remember earlier we said, are you in a state of confusion or are you in a state of order? Is your mind in order? So you collect all the books and go when you're in school, you read them, you have tests, and you give back what you remember. But what happened? The results that you're getting are not in accordance with what it is that you want. Why? Because your old paradigm is giving you that result. If you're a student, let us say, and this is my experience in 10th grade, and they're working because they need to pay bills.
I had to call
So,
campus safety to come and open our door because it locked on the break they said. So yeah, my keys in my room.
so the
Is that
student,
water bananas are here?
For you.
the student, will you please turn off your mic for me, please? The student don't spend time studying, because they're working. And when they come to class the next day, they're sleeping. So naturally, they're not going to perform properly. So all they need to do is to change the habit. Do what it is that is the main thing. So that is what we talk about, because 95% of your behavior is habitual. 95%. Right? We go through this. We already have dealt with this. So we're not going to spend much time there. So this now is another exercise that we're going to want you to think about. Remember, this is a masterclass, and we're just giving you ideas as to things that you can do to move forward. We call it a legacy map. What is your 10-year vision? Your 5-year vision? What is your 2026 goals? And what are you going to do in the next 3 months? By March, what are you going to do? Our legacy here, the same thing. You start with a vision. And what are the values that you have? We don't recommend you go rob no bank to earn money. Now you're going to be spending your time living a very comfortable life in prison. If you're not an expert in that area, and I won't get into that, then action. You gotta go into action to produce the outcome. And this is what we do. here at Eagle. We help you to do that. So as we said before, the body is a servant of the mind. It obeys the operation of the mind. And at the bidding of unlawful or unhealthy thoughts, the body sinks rapidly into disease and decay. However, the opposite, at the command of glad and beautiful thoughts, it becomes clothed with youthfulness, beauty, and energy. All right? So, if you are interested in the programs that we do, you can do that. I can bring this back, or you can check with the person who invited you here, or you can check with us. I just want to
Dennis,
spend a little while, huh?
before you continue, I posted 2 questions in the chat. What are
Okay.
your thoughts on the presentation this is for the participants. What are your thoughts on the presentation, and what resonated with you the most?
Well, that is something
So
that
you
you
can
put
go
in
in the
the,
chat and answer, please. In the chat for persons to
yeah,
answer.
that can respond so that, get a little bit engaged
Yeah.
in the thing. I must confess that we had quite a little bit of stuff to go through, so, it did take up a lot of the time. And normally we reserve 15 minutes to, get into it, but this topic is so important that there are things which are brought in about the cycle that is taking place now. Because many people are seeing all kinds of things taking place, and they are not clear that this now is an opportunity. It presents opportunity. So I'm going to pause there, and I'm going to stop sharing, and open it up to, if there's any questions, any points which people would like to make, at least.
As always, Professor Smith, very good presentation. I just responded to Miss Suzette's requests in the chat. These concepts, never get old, and they really are important reminders of, how important it is to have a goal and, the power of thinking, and, I really appreciate you taking the time to do it each month.
Come on, this is my pleasure, my brother. This is what the book, I remember what we said is that this thing starts with the individual. Many people are focused on the system. So the system don't give them the chance to do anything. And we are saying no, it begins here. It begins here.
We hear it all the time, the power of,
You see?
the power of the mind. So, it's good to remember that,
And that's what we're trying to get people here to focus on. You have to take responsibility for you. Your perception is what creates your reality. That's what Napoleon Hill was talking about, that environment is what you're looking glass. The environment that you see is a reflection of your perception.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Appreciate that, Professor Sweet.
Yeah. So if you think life is difficult, trust me, life is difficult for you. Yeah. You change your thinking. And this
Quick
is
one,
why
Dennis.
when we point out that you become first, and then the manifestation takes place. But many people have difficulty because you plant a seed and tomorrow you go there and you expect to reap. You expect to reap the next day. It don't work like that. Yes,
Yeah, but I was just.
Reverend. No, I don't. Hey. His son.
Boy.
Let's put it that way. His son never breakthrough. So,
There are some of us, I'm not talking this group necessarily. Yeah, positive thinking, get positive responses, and people agree and all of that. But ultimately, it may be that some will need to see examples of the outcome in a practical way in order to be convinced. It just came to my mind, because I know there are persons who I have tried to persuade to come on to and listen and that sort of thing. But I think just based on experience, that's where it is. Like the proof of the pudding is in eating. So people might want to see the examples of success having gotten into this mode of positive thinking, rather than thinking of positive thinking just as something vague and something nice to do because it makes you feel better, but getting to that stage of the practical application and the results that we're looking for.
you see, let's think about it. Society and the system tell people that to get job security, you need to go to college. And they invest 40,000 US dollars, in your case, millions, to do that. Only to find out that they are in debt. And the job they have, they may spend the rest of their natural life trying to pay off that debt. And thinking that they're going to have security. Here in the United States, there's a lot of young people, for example, that join the army. Because they're looking to see the benefits that they can get. They're talking mainly African American people. And they join the ranks. Not a set of person, they join the officer corps. I had a student in my class, a Caucasian, and that is what he planned to do. He already saw himself in the officer corps. Why? His great-grandfather was in the army. His grandfather was in the army. His two parents are in the army. And all of them is at a certain rank. So he was assured. And you will say he get opportunity. Yes, he was surrounded by that situation there. But there are other people who have risen and gone into officer rank. But the point is that many times the decisions we make is based on the limitations around. And the people who we're flying with, that they don't know. And this is why mentorship is important. Mentorship and guidance is vitally important. I spent a great deal of my life focusing on why people are poor. Only to find out that is the wrong emphasis. Why people are rich. Why some people are prosperous. And if you look at it, you will see the answer. You will see. Many persons are quite comfortable, but if you were to check their background, you realize that they came from humble surroundings, which would make what you are doing now look like a palace. And this is one of the things with the growth of material benefit. Young people, many young people now are not faced with scarcity and want. And therefore, to some extent, they don't have a vision of a grander and a more abundant future. So yes, this is a challenge in terms of developing the mindset which sees that the world is abundant. When you begin to see and think that way, then what is going to happen? You are going to begin to see opportunities that you did not see before. So, there are no other question in the chat. That could be a particular.
Yeah, Professor Smith.
No.
Yes, member Joe.
All right, sir. Great job as usual. But let me ask you, if somebody needs to hear this again, is it recorded or is it gonna be on YouTube, or can you direct us?
Yes, ma'am. As usual, that's what I do, because these things are presented to help people to raise their level of awareness. So I post it on YouTube public.
Okay.
So like you, I send you the link, and if you want to share it with whoever, so that they can get the information. And if they want to contact me or Suzette, anyone who they're in touch with,
Okay.
then yourself, they can do that, and we carry it to the next level. We have this every month.
Mm-hmm.
We're giving value every month. I'm also having a paid activity coming up. As you can see, we're just scratching the surface here, giving a little bit of information, but where we dive deeper into wealth creation and entrepreneurship. That's coming up in March. That's going to be a 6 weeks course meeting every Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Can go on the website and we can look at that. And if you haven't gone to the website and subscribe, if you have subscribed, then if we send out a newsletter. We've been trying to get it going regularly. So far, we're at every 2 weeks. We're trying to get it down to weekly. But it's important that people take the step to subscribe so that they can get the information, and we can see what it is that you can do to improve yourself. Now, with artificial intelligence, information is there. We no longer lack information. What we lack is guidance. That's the key. Guidance, mentorship. And many of us do it in various different ways, in different spheres of life. That is the key. Sustained mentorship and the changing of old habits to develop new habits, which can help you chart through these seemingly turbulent times. And as I mentioned earlier before, after every storm, there is a calm. And that is what we are entering into 2026. We are entering into a period of opportunities and expansion. Embrace artificial intelligence. Stop listening to the media telling you about the negative. It is the new key to the future. Not even the future, the present. And that is what I try to explain when I said the 3 cycles that are taking place. We are in the age of the mind. I've just attended a four-day summit. Thousands of people on it, multiple speakers, and they're all talking about the same thing. How you use your marvelous mind. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're gone over the time that we normally do, and I'm a very disciplined person when it comes to time. I don't like to encroach on other people's time. But I think maybe I was trying to do too much today. That's what I did. But thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. And, we wish you all the best. Keep in touch. And, okay. So